I was married to.
I had several, but I only had one printed.
I only had one printed too, and she had to resend it 3 different times to get it in.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, for Valerie and
Well, and I noticed
That's not fair.
Steve Easter had written a letter endorsing himself and advertising himself, and
he's got it.
yeah, it got in there. And the thing that all Betty is when we put it back last September when I first filed for candidacy, and I write letters to Headlight Herald pretty regularly.
Yeah.
And I had written a couple during 2, I think, during 1 month. One was about occupied protesters, and one was about
interesting.
yeah, it was actually, I think, about the labor law, the child labor laws, and how it would affect our ag industry. And over a month went by, and neither one of them got posted. So I finally sent her a letter and said, "Do I need to rescind these?" And she said, "Well, since you're a candidate now, you need to be really careful. We're going to limit you to 1 a month, and you have to be really careful about what you write about because we don't want you promoting yourself for your candidacy." Well, I never have done that.
They sent me one last letter like that, and then turned right around and printed it one way.
By Forrester,
Yeah.
yeah, for himself. And so I called her on it, and I said, "Hey," I said, you told me months ago to be careful, and I've never done it because you want idea. It's always about a specific issue. I said, and then I called her, make sure I said this one about. She goes, "Oh no, I always pulled it," and I realized that it wasn't really issue specific. Well, no, it was deeply specific. And she goes, "I'm really sorry. If you'd like, I'll put a simple article next to it." And I went, "That's not the point. I don't."
Yeah, that's not how
It wasn't about me.
And you know what? She did this. I want to be sure that person gets a place so that it's free on Christmas. And that's the right. And then I know that I can read this. Wow, all these special so but I wrote up like, and I'm sure
This had I put in here, I put one in the shopper.
and so, you know, but I just noticed it just seems very on the outside. Yeah, it's very
Yes, it was.
and you know, that's the problem.
I remember what we were talking about.
Always, when you're trying
Oh, really? Went from 4 to 7. That's all right. That's half the electric. Well, that's a good deal. Yeah, the female
Right.
I almost
He would have won. He
never
would have got.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah, who knows? You start getting a bunch of, where'd you get this?
I know a lot of people.
Did I tell you she wrote herself in for our son? So she goes, "Oh, Lisa, we won and won on there." And there was nobody else with that research, so except for no, because
I actually
well, it's actually
look at
non-partisan.
the shopper all the time.
There's a non-partisan, there's non-affiliate, non-partisan, independent parent, just and so,
Sometimes they don't get it, the whole page is ad. It got lost in the clutter. So you have a good one, because it's right in the corner.
other people just didn't even as well, and then right.
in the fighter in the same way.
Doing that.
Right.
Yeah. Boy, this Scotch room is just good. Look at that. Look at that hillside. It's getting to be bad. So we did that little thing we did last weekend. There was ice. I needed the exercise, but my asthma. At least it hasn't pollinated. But when I got up on top of the hill, we started burning.
So how did this work?
There were 7 questions, and he answered all the questions, and there was only one question that I really think she wasn't sure what they were quite talking about.
You're afraid of cancer. Oh yeah, kill
Oh, Jason worked on the county's proposed accessory dwelling So then maybe you can explain this, the question about the accessory dwelling unit. Is that similar to yeah.
No, very different.
See, I wasn't quite sure. I hadn't heard about this, so I answered to the rental.
This is a South County.
So he said that.
Basically, take the existing dwelling and like at a grandmother's.
Sure.
Okay.
So that's who
That's what we wanted to do.
Like the idea.
That's great.
Is are there?
That way, housing is.
And I love
Uh-oh, there's my swan song.
What was that? Evil vampire. School curriculum.
I wanted to ask some questions too. Is there going to be opportunity to do that?
You know, let's do it right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see what the time is.
Okay.
Thank you, Karen.
Okay. And I wrote them down so because my mind is
I grilled
a
her.
little tired. So.
Let's just go.
Short ladies.
What?
Short lady.
Yeah.
Ourselves, we know ourselves. Well, in and out.
You can standardize that.
Sounds good to me.
And she gave me
I thought maybe we could take
good
just a minute to wrap up, if that's okay, because I see that the time is moving on and we're probably gonna get down the road.
And I
Without
have some
getting
questions
involved.
I
Come
wanted
this
to
way and we're gonna hear some questions and answers, hopefully.
Sounds good, Karen.
Much better.
So, if anyone wants to stay and hear the Q&A, why, here we go.
Things happen, they
We'll see what emerges.
Okay, so my
so
first
glad.
question,
Let's sit in first.
Walter.
I wonder if these
Okay. My first question to you, Karen, is do you support the current policy of preemptive war?
My goodness sakes, let's start with something that's not so challenging, right?
Okay, I
First,
got one.
I'm kidding you. That's Bowerman humor.
Okay.
You know, one of the things that is of tremendous concern is that we don't seem to understand anymore in this country what constitutes war. And if we could get in our brain how war is to occur according to the Constitution.
Right.
And do it that way and recognize that if we are committing our troops and the precious lives of our Americans overseas,
Right.
it's war. And let's not have that be all of a sudden redesignated to be a responsibility of the executive branch or of one person who is.
So then you believe that we should have a congressional declaration of war before we go to any country? Now my question to you is, since I heard you used to be a CEO or work for companies, would you support the bailouts? If there were, bailouts presented themselves, would you support them or the ones that we already have?
Yeah, no. Is that clear? Okay. Now let me go back to the first
Okay.
part of your question.
Okay.
I have not served as a CEO. I've been as a dean in business in the higher education arena.
Okay.
But that means, and we've just had a discussion, does that mean that you're pro-business? And the answer there is yes. So, in a nutshell.
And it was more than a nutshell.
Okay, here's another big one, okay? Do you support foreign aid to countries around the world? And let's use Israel as an example, where every Israeli gets $25,000 a year when our own infrastructure is crumbling and we have a runaway deficit.
Yeah, I do not support foreign aid to countries that are not friendly with the U.S. I do support aid to Israel, okay? And that's being honest and
To
transparent.
the tune of $25,000 per citizen.
I don't know the amount.
Well,
Yeah.
I can vouch for it.
No.
My reputation on the line.
Yeah, I don't mean that you don't know. I meant that I don't know what the right amount would be, but I
I
do
see.
support aid to Israel. Yeah.
Okay, now if you were elected, do you support the extension of the Patriot Act?
You know, there are a lot of issues that are up here right now with the Patriot Act, this, what is it, CISPA and
NDAA,
right.
the spies, there's spy drones to spy on Americans. That's another piece.
Yeah, and then sharing our computer information.
Exactly.
with
And then
them.
free speech zones.
Right. I think, let me give you a template by which I look at these things, because there are so many of those acts now, including the National Defense Reappropriation. And the template that I look at to make those determinations is, does it interfere with our individual liberty? That's number 2. Number 1 is it constitutional with what we're doing? And when we look at those things through those templates,
Right.
I think we come up with the correct answer on them. And they're not always fully straightforward, as you know.
Right.
And sometimes they're written one way, and people are afraid that they will be misused.
Exactly,
And
because the language, because I've looked at these, the language is very open-ended and vague.
Yeah.
And like CISPA, when I was reading the way the language is, it could give any company the right to take any information that you have, give it to any intelligence organization, and be used in any way that they need without your permission.
Well, and when it is Facebook and Google being told that they are to collect that information and give it to the government. And now I have not seen the latest version that was passed by the House.
Are you
It's
talking about CISPA?
CISPA,
Yeah.
and it was passed last week, still has not been signed into law, however. But the last version that I read did not require a court order.
Right.
And not requiring a court order could very well be problematic.
And see, that's how I feel about the NDAA,
Right, I hear
because there's no due process. In other words, I speak up. We live in America, and I want the right of dissent. I don't want somebody to say, no, you can't say how you feel, or then you'll be called a terrorist, or that you're unpatriotic.
And yet on the other
America.
exactly. And yet on the other hand, for national security reasons, I think we would all agree that we want protection against a real jihadist. And so how that is written in order to protect us and keep us safe is the challenge. Anything else?
I have a different orientation. I'm more concerned about our national forest lands and getting compensation in some form. I don't know if you're familiar with the Secure Rural Schools program. Would you support DeFazio? That seems to be on its way out. And they're saying we need to learn to be more self-reliant, self-sufficient, and stop living off the government dole as they see it. But would you support, say, DeFazio's latest proposal, which is, I think, what was it? Something communities, compensation for rural communities,
Yeah.
or
Well,
something to that effect.
when you look at the unemployment data in Oregon, and you see that the overall unemployment rate, without counting those who disengage from the system completely, is above 8% in the forest. It's over 17%, almost 17.5%. We can just see in the numbers that there is a huge problem that is not being met. We can see that also when we're looking at the county roads, that there are some secondary effects or primary effects, however, like I put jobs first, county roads second, maybe a county commissioner puts them in different order, but whatever the order, it doesn't matter. The effect is that we don't have control over our natural resources.
And we don't get any compensation.
And we don't get
It's a
compensation.
dead space.
Yeah, it is.
It's tied up. We don't get any property taxes from it.
Exactly.
So I think those are the issues that DeFazio's proposal
Right.
addresses. Would you support this proposal?
You know, his proposal, as I understood it, and some of you probably know better, was to have the federal government give properties to Oregon. Whether that is the case or not, here's my take on it. I think that would be lovely if the federal government gave the forest back.
Right, right.
You know, that would be great.
Uh-huh.
Is that likely? It's kind of like passing a constitutional amendment for things where our last constitutional amendment took 200 years to get through the system. So that would be great, but is that most likely? And when I think about it, just from a political point of view, it's really the western United States that are more concerned about that than the eastern states, because back east they may have 2%, 3%, 5% of their lands that are federally owned. Where here, we've got, what, 53%?
We're the absolute opposite.
Exactly.
As far as public and private.
Plus 90% in Nevada. So there are some states out here in the West that will agree with us, you know, on how this could be changed for us to have fiscal benefit. So DeFazio's bill, if it is still federal government give us the land, then if it's a good first step, great. But how about something that is maybe more palatable, that achieves the same objective?
I think his is trust-oriented. Create sort of a trust relationship, and then half of the lands would be, at least the ONC lands, would be designated as a conservation trust, managed primarily for conservation,
Right.
and the other half would be
Right. And if it is still that
Reopened,
way,
uh-huh.
then my concern would be, so is the trust going to be managed in the same way that the Social Security Trust was managed? Because you know what they did with that. They said, oh, there's a little pile of money. Let's spend it and just add it to the national debt. There has to be good oversight of something like that at the get-go to be sure that it's structured correctly, so that Oregon really does benefit. Because you know the Social Security Trust Fund that I'm talking about, that had been trillions. Yeah. Until it is now zero. And so to have that happen yet again in this critical area for Oregon, let's just be sure that we're on the same page when the time comes. I mean, we share the same objective. You know, it's to get Oregon.
Do you have any ideas of your own? Like Schrader is very involved in this too.
Yeah.
Walden Schrader, there was once a Walden Schrader DeFazio proposal.
Correct.
That I think got tied up, bogged down in committee.
Yeah.
So DeFazio was, the most insistent or persistent is coming up with even a newer proposal. I'm not sure what the details are, but it's an issue of vital importance to us.
Absolutely.
Because all our road funding used to come from the national forest.
Absolutely.
So do you have any proposals of your own or any ideas?
Well, okay, first of all, let me just say about me.
Yeah, what would
Yeah.
be your approach? Because it would be if upon your election, we would look to you immediately
Right.
and want you to address this issue.
Yeah, okay, and that is me.
Right.
Is that I would want to not just have you look to me, I would want to look to you also, so that we're addressing these kinds of things
Right.
together. Because in case you can't notice, my style is to work with you. You know, I always go back to this thing, this is a country that is of the people, by the people, and for the people, and you are the people. You know, and that has to be recognized and abided by all the time, in my opinion, so that no congressperson considers themselves either totally informed on anything, because that's not really the way life is, nor can they be aloof. Because if that is the case, then it's not going to work for our benefit. So that's number one. Number two is, yes, I have some thoughts. Do I know that they're the best thoughts? No, because I'm not in the position now to work them through either on the inside or the outside. The inside being with you, the outside being through the folks in DC, to know what is really going to be able to pass and have an effect. But I'd like to look at some leasing opportunities rather than gifting as possibilities, because I think it might be something that would be more likely to be passed given the U.S. dynamic that we talked about, rather than yet another proposal that gets stuck in committee and never goes anywhere.
Leasing to who? The county, to the states?
That would be, well, I've asked people in the county, in Lincoln County, where I've had this opportunity primarily, would you like to see the state be the one, you know, who receives?
I think our county can build all lines.
That's what I hear. And I therefore, I would say no on the state level. And that's simply based on people.
I'll give you a good example. The city of Nehalem, there where Jim Welsh lives, has a 1,000-acre woodlot that they manage themselves. They hire professional foresters to make suggestions to the city council. They contract with these professional foresters about once a year. Well, right now we have some brush building up here. We can harvest X amount of board feet, and they do it themselves. This is one little city, and they use the funds and they manage it themselves, and they make a tiny little profit every year, and they use that for
Yeah, see, that's,
for their own civic things.
that's excellent.
One little city, their own little 1,000 acre woodlot. What do you think we could do Tillamook County if we have our Tillamook forest back?
Absolutely, absolutely. And to have a plan of that type where the county can benefit financially, but the federal government isn't turned away from it because of politics.
Wouldn't cost
can
you
work.
anything.
Exactly. In fact, the federal government could gain.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it might actually be something that was feasible and would pass. Now that's my thought from the limited vantage point that I have right now. But where that money would go in the federal government would need to be very tightly controlled, because otherwise it could be frittered away. Why could it not be used relative to the national debt or relative to the Social Security Trust Fund payback or whatever? That wherever that money is needed, we've got to have an effect that is positive relative to the debt.
Possibly
And
even
we can't do
have
that.
a grandfather clause where it's revisited where that money would go every 5 years.
And I feel that regulations should be that way in general anyway. They should be separated when they are on different subjects, so that things don't just get all mixed up and passed and we don't know what we've got going on. And why not a sunset clause? We would love it. Yeah. Well, in a nutshell, how do you describe it? It's economic prosperity for Oregonians, if you look on this little card, is at the top, okay? And then feeding into that are the aspects of fiscal conservative approach to managing, as I do see it as managing, the governmental funds. I know how to do that. It is second nature to me. I love doing that. And I really, I hope that you get a sense of trust because that's what it's all about with the person that you vote for. Do you believe that this person has your interest at heart? And I can only tell you that I do, and then it's up to your heart to make that decision relative to mine. Because that's, I think, where it is. It's about integrity. It's about a person being open and transparent, accessible, so that you're confident in who you're voting for. And I just believe that it's so important to this country that we have those people serving America. And we've got a challenge in keeping it so that these kinds of good folks will serve.
Okay, now in terms of the economy, let's get back to that. You see that you're a fiscal conservative. So what do you think about some of Ron Paul's ideas about balancing the budget?
Yeah, there are many of his things, and state sovereignty, yes. And you know, we know that one thing wonderful about Ron Paul, we know where he stands. Yeah, and the state sovereignty issue is something that I'm completely there. And this is relative to what's in the Constitution. If it's something that is like, say, for instance, the Second Amendment,
Right.
then that is relegated to the at the federal level. It's not a state's right to make that determination whether you have a right to bear arms or not.
Right.
So it's relative to the Constitution. So thank you, and thank you all for being here. We hope that you eat the rest of these and drink the rest of the coffee. We're going to run down the road to talk to some good folks in Tulsa, and if some of you want to come on the train ride, so to speak, please do. Because that's where we're headed. No, it's
7 to 8.
7 to 8?
7:30
7 to 8.
why are we rushing?
Exactly. Kick back.
Is that the time?
It's 6 to 7.
Coffee.
6 to 7.
6 to 7.
That's the
Thank you,
reason.
6 to
Jeff.
7, okay.
Has everyone met Jeff?
No.
Hey Jeff. How's it going,
And
guys?
who is Jeff?
Jeff is our research and tracker person for the Democrat Party.
I'm going on tour with the band.
We'd like to hear your impressions.
I don't have any.
A true reporter, totally objective report.
He's a closet Republican.
He keeps telling us how nice we are, how good people we are, but he remains silent in a group situation, right, Jeff?
And who is this gentleman over here?
This is the man that has put up with me for 34 years,
Oh,
Earl
okay.
Bowerman.
Okay, I wasn't sure if he was your campaign manager or your husband.
Both.
And chauffeur.
It is.
Oh, we gotta give him a big
Yeah.
You know, people ask Karen, well, how's the campaign going? How's the campaign going? And they never ask me. How's Earl doing? And it's an experience like none of it, and we're enjoying every minute of it. Getting out and meeting folks, we get to meet people like Tom and that we wouldn't have ever met, and if we get out and get this, and we're meeting people all the time that we want to be friends with that we would never have met if we weren't doing this. So it's a great experience.
And one thing we've noticed is that there's a different conversation that emerges when you're a candidate. And I want to know if the two of you have experienced this too, where you go into a town. Now, if we were just meeting to sit and talk about life and have good cheese together, you would not have pulled out that list.
No, I wouldn't.
And therefore, our conversation
Right.
is very different when you're a candidate and talking. I love that.
But it's also because you don't have a lot of time. So, when
Yeah.
you sit down with somebody, you have much more time
Yeah.
to kind of break the ice. But when you go to something like this, a public forum with candidates, you have to
Yeah.
cut to the chase.
Yeah.
You can always send me
Yeah. I've done that too. I usually
And I
do.
get a lot
I
of
usually
them.
do.
And there's my cell phone number on that flyer there. And take my cell phone number.
Or more than one email.
Yeah.
Many emails.
Almost to that.
There's a gentleman that was in Newport where we had been, and he emails regularly. And it was so nice to say, hey, how you doing, Roger? Because you feel like you know. Is there anything that you would like to ask of these two candidates, or have you already had full opportunity to do that in the past?
They feel like family.
How about a statement you would like to make?
We've had it with these.
How
Getting
about
the
enough
brain.
of our faces?
Well, I'm very glad to see something like this because I think it represents the way we feel about our community, and I think someone like you will back the way we want to try and govern, and get back some of the pride that we once had in our communities. That is, to be honest, they're dwindling away, and it scares me for the future because you all have kids. We want them to be able to live their lives here as well.
Yep.
And unless we make some changes
Yep.
and really find a direction to go, it's not going to happen for these kids.
Right, and a lot of people have already been driven out of the community, like for instance, in our school district, we've lost so many, our enrollment just keeps declining because there's no jobs.
And I look at the data on businesses, and the way that they are leaving Oregon
Right.
is the same kind of thing, and that's very bothersome.
Wow.
And there are a lot of reasons why that's the case, and I've often thought, what is the root cause of that problem? And I'm not sure that any of us have the right idea, but
I do. Big government.
big government. But and I